Okay, here we go, talking about probability. First off, we're going to talk about sample spaces. A sample space is everything that can happen, okay? So you roll a six-sided number cube and toss a coin. What is the sample space? You're doing both of these activities. So they're saying one thing that could happen is I could roll a 1 and get a head, or I could roll a 1 and get a tails. Guess what? I can roll a 2 and get a heads. I can roll a 2 and get a tails. They want us to do the whole thing, all right? Because that's the sample space. So I can do a 3 and a head. I'm trying to figure out how to make this go faster. A 3 and a tails. A 4. 4 and a head. A 4 and a tails. Put little commas in there. 5 heads. 5 tails. 6 heads. 6 tails. Woohoo. Okay. You are so lucky to get to see me write on the computer with my fingers. Who gets to see that? Okay, so that's the sample space. That's everything that can happen. You roll a six-sided number cube and toss a coin. Same deal. Let the event A mean you tossed heads. What outcomes are in event A? Well, if you tossed heads, that would be the 1 in heads, 2 in heads, right? 3 in heads, 4 in heads, 5 in heads. You could roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Heads, 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 heads. You're rolling all the heads, okay? Those are the outcomes in event A. What probability asks you is, what's the probability that you tossed heads, okay? Probability goes like the yeses, the successes over the total. It's a fraction. But it's always the number of things that you're looking for that did happen out of the total things that could happen. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that could happen that we wanted, right? The heads out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of 12 things, okay? So 6 out of 12 or 1/2 or 0.5. The probability is 0.5. Okay, so given that's what probability is, then we know that probability can only go from 0 to 1, because if it's just going to not happen, that's 0. What's the probability that in the next 3 minutes, I'm just going to levitate up on out of my chair and hover up in the ceiling? 0, okay? What's the probability that sometime in the next 10 minutes, I am going to take a breath of air? 1, definitely happening, okay? But there's not more than 1 and there's not less than 0, okay? So any fraction, the top number would need to be smaller than the bottom number. All right. A bag contains 3 red, 3 blue, 3 yellow. I'm just saying stuff that's not even there. 3 red, 4 blue, 2 yellow, and 2 green gumballs. What's the probability the gumball is yellow? Okay, so we're going to put the total on the bottom. There's 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 gumballs altogether. What's the probability that's yellow? 2 are yellow. 2 out of 11, okay? And then, if you're asked for a decimal, if your answers are given to you as a decimal, then you're just going to divide 2 divided by 11. And that ends up being 0.18. It's actually repeating 18, 18, 18, 18. But okay, all right. Jesse takes the bus. This ends up pretty long, so I don't want to get cut off for our 5 minutes in the middle of this, so I'm going to go ahead and stop and go to video 2.